Hey guys, here we are for section 3 of chapter 6, age structure and population growth. Basically, we're just going to look at how does the age structure, the ages of people in a particular country or even the world, affect its overall population growth. As it turns out, there's some very distinct things you can look at and to develop patterns from. So, what we're going to look at is age structure. Just the number and percentages of males versus females within young, middle, and older age groups. So we're going to kind of put everything in some boxes here, look at it in a really big picture, and see what we can get from it. And it's one of these, this age structure is one of the most important factors in determining how fast a population grows or actually declines. So let's look at the categories. I'm going to throw the charts up back here. They're broken down in this red, yellow, and blue, so you can pretty quickly and easily distinguish what they are. We're just going to talk about pre-reproductive. This is basically human beings prior to being able to reproduce. And obviously, largely, we're talking about the female population. It takes both a male and female, but the female is the true limiting factor here. They're the ones that can actually carry and give birth. So, prior to the age of 14, can't really reproduce. Between the ages of 15 and 44 are the reproductive years. Now, 15 is a little early, 44 is a little late, but that's our parameters that we look in. And then post-reproductive age, over the age of 45. So red, pre-productive, yellow, the reproductive ages, and blue is post-reproductive. Now we're looking at 4 different graphs because it's 4 different examples of what we tend to see. Obviously you could get, it could look any sort of shape depending on a unique population, but these 4 tend to be what they clump around and allows us to project what's going to happen to that country's population. Now this first one that just looks like a swoop, if you will, to me it reminds me of some of the temple tops at Thailand when we lived there. But anyway, this kind of swoopy temple top one, I guess maybe looks like the Eiffel Tower. These have the highest percentage of young people. Most of the population is younger than age 15. What's going to happen is countries like this are going to experience rapid population growth because most of their population is getting ready to get into these reproductive years. So a really big young population tends to experience a pretty fast, rapid population growth because as they move into their reproductive years, then we tend to expect big population growth from those. And some of the examples there are Guatemala, Niger, Saudi Arabia. A lot of our less developed countries tend to have this curve. They tend to give birth to more children, and the people don't live as long in their older ages. They don't have as good a medical care, so people die off quicker and we have a big birth rate, which is why we tend to see this swoop, if you will. The second one over, this is expanding slowly. Constant expansion, but fairly slow. The United States tends to fit this. Thailand fits this. China fits this. Currently, China used to have the early one, but we're going to look at them as a case study, what they did to control population growth, and it has put it into this kind of slowly increasing. The third one over, almost looking like the Empire State Building or something, almost a skyscrapery platform. This is a stable population. A lot of the countries in Europe have this kind of structure. It's kind of almost straight and then decreasing as we get older and older. We have very few people out there that are 100 years old, fewer that are not, it gets bigger. But specifically like Greece, Russia, Italy, once again, a lot of European countries tend to have that. The one at the very end, where it's kind of big at the top and trailing down, this is a declining population. Many of the people are actually older. They fall in this post-reproductive age class, where most of the population is, and this would be a declining population. Japan, Bulgaria, Hungary are just some examples that fit this kind of block, but that's a declining population, fewer young, and they have their own issues or problems as well, which we'll look at a little later. Now, the global population of seniors, people in this post-reproductive age, is expected to triple between now and 2050. Within 30 years, we expect this global population of seniors to triple, which means the working age population is going to decline. As more and more of these people get into retirement age, fewer of them in the workforce, and you have a smaller workforce. So as we kind of progress towards that declining population, in some ways it can be good, but it also has its own issues or struggles. Now let's look at the case study, specifically the American baby boom. We referenced that a little bit earlier, that right after World War II, between the end of World War II, 1944-45 to 1964, the American baby boom. Average birth rate was like 3.7. Most couples having somewhere around 4 children through that time. And we got this big fat boom of kids. 79 million Americans were added between 46 and 64. Made up 25%, or it still makes up 25% of the population. Well, this big group mass has a lot of effects. They affect politics. They're the ones going to the polls, making the votes. They affect the economics. So many people in the workforce, making decisions in the workforce. Well, now, right now, currently, they are becoming the senior citizens. It's being referred to as the graying of America. This kind of one big block moving in. Well, if you look at it, what it looks like in the demographic studies, now the baby boomers are just being put in yellow to make it easy to see. But they kind of have this little fat bulge moving all the way through the curve. In 1950, 55, when they were kind of really first coming into the pre-reproductive stage, you know, they're only 10 years old or so, but you can see they're the widest margin. You get into 1985, and now they're still in that big, but now they're in their reproductive years. Then they start moving into the retirement age in 2015. That's that third block, about where they are right now. And then 2035, what they're projected, now granted we're trying to make assumptions, large numbers of how many are going to die and stay alive, etc. But they keep this kind of big fat block as they move through, and as they move into retirement, they're out of the workforce, and now we have a huge population that needs retirement, welfare, care, etc., and it can put a burden. So it's a boom to the economy for a while, but now as they move up, we get a different shaped curve, and the curve begins to look a little bit more like one of those declining. Now, it's not exactly the entire population, but gives an idea of what the American baby boom has done for America and its population. Now, an aging population can decline rapidly. Japan is the classic example of this. America may be moving into it in another 15 years or so, as that baby boomer group definitively all moves into that retirement age. But Japan is currently right there. Now, if the decline is slow, it's generally manageable. You see it coming, you make adaptations, you plan for it, and it's not a big deal. Rapid decline can be a problem. What happens is, proportionally, you have much fewer people working, earning wages, paying taxes. You've heard me say this to you in class, etc. before. I love you. I want you to do well because I need your tax dollars hard at work. That's how I get paid. And when I want to have a retirement, when I do retire, I want some benefits to be there. So I need you to succeed. I need you to learn this information. I need you to go out and be entrepreneurs and contribute and pay taxes so that there's something for me right now, because you pay for my pay as a school teacher, but then also into retirement. So, me wanting the best for you is not really all that altruistic. There's a little bit of that in it for me as well. But as a population declines rapidly, you have a lot more people that are no longer working, but they do need more care, typically. So makes a problem. You have labor shortages. Now all of a sudden we don't have enough people to do these jobs that we have. So what do? Automation and robots are coming into that. Japan has the highest population of people over 65, and they also have the lowest population of people under 15. Their TFR, the total fertility rate, is at 1.4. Remember, 2.1, that's the replacement level, well below that. So they're getting this bulge and fewer people down here, and it does create problems. Of course, one of their solutions is to try and create a lot of robots that can actually do that work and sell the robots to other countries as well. So let's look at specifically some of these problems that we run into with a rapid population decline. Now once again, if it's slow, it's manageable. But when it becomes rapid, we run into these kind of issues. It threatens economic growth. Same thing. We don't have as many people out there to be able to go to work, have jobs. So even though I have this great idea and I need workers, I don't have anybody to hire. They're just not there. You get labor shortages because of it. There's less government revenue. If there's not as many people down here working, paying taxes, there's not as much tax money to lay infrastructure, to fix the roads, to pay potential pensions, to pay teacher, the whole kid and caboodle. So you have less government revenue because fewer people are paying taxes. There's less entrepreneurship. You have fewer people going into new businesses because you have fewer people working. You don't have as many people going to work. It's kind of that old adage that necessity is the mother of invention. If we don't really have a particular need, I'm not going to go into it. There's less likelihood for new technology development. It's some of these same things. We kind of have systems in place, things are declining. A lot of people aren't trying to go in to make something new. Let me create something for myself. Because when most of your population is old, they're usually not buying into, let's do something new and exciting. That tends to work when you have a larger population that is younger, that is interested in those things. Older people tend to be, let's do what I'm used to doing. So it doesn't lend as well for technology development. Youth usually is a better end of that. It increased the public deficits to fund higher pensions. Once again, now all these older people are clamoring, hey, we need more benefits, we need more welfare, we need more, whatever. Squeaky wheel gets grease. If most of your people are in that group, they're the ones making the noise, and it can strain the government funds, it can strain healthcare costs. Once again, people are getting sick, going into the hospital, it just has a cost to it. And it may be that we have to actually cut pensions or retirement funds, or the retirement age has to be increased. It used to be, legal retirement age, or you get all your benefits at age 65. We say, you know what? You may not be able to get all your benefits until 70. So you're going to have to now work till you're 70, or you're going to have to work till you're 75 before you get your retirement benefits, trying to keep people in the workforce longer. Some of the ways that we may need to deal with it. Oh, that is it for Chapter 6, Section 3. Take care, and we'll see you next time when we look at what we think it's going to take to slow the human population growth on the planet. Take care, guys. We'll see you in a bit.